Hello YouTube friends, Alicia here with you. So I never got back on to show you my Peter Rabbit journals that I've been working on. I have one bound together, two more started. They are not fully done and decorated though, so I am waiting to finish all three of them. One is spoken for, so I'm happy for that, and I will be finishing those and getting before the end of the month. I go back to college on the 25th, so I need to get everything wrapped up by then. But today I'm going to come on and show you some paper I dyed, just in case you're like me and you do canning this time of year and gardening and all that kind of thing. It's choke cherry season, at least in Manitoba. So I just want to show you that if you have choke cherries, what you can do is after you've extracted the juice and that from them, you can boil the seeds and the leftover skins depending what you're making. I made syrup and a thing of jelly, so I had the leftover seeds and fruit bits, I guess, whatever you want to call it. I reboiled that down and I made syrup. I made dye. This doesn't have sugar or anything in this, like it's not from the syrup or anything like that. It's literally just the leftover stuff, and you don't add the sugar into syrup. Sorry, the sugar into the fruit while it still has the seeds in there. So yeah, it's just literally the seeds and the fruit. For anybody that's like thinking that sugar would cause issues with paper, there's no sugar in this, or no added sugar. Okay, so I was just going to show you some of the different results I got and tell you about what I did here. So this is just, a couple of them. It's nothing earth-shattering, but just like I said, for some people that maybe don't realize that you can turn cherry seeds into dye, you sure can. It is water soluble, meaning that when I spray it, it will react with water. I don't know if it's completely dry, if it will still react, but if it's wet, I can spray it and have it react, which does not make it a particularly great fabric dye because it wants to rinse out of fabric. It will not dye things like polyesters or things like that because it is not permanent enough to do that. So obviously it's not for any kind of fine art, but for a junk journal it works. So I will show you this. This I did with the lace, and I did it with the polyester lace so that it actually doesn't stain the lace. I can rinse it out, reuse it for whatever I want. They're not fully dry, but they're dry enough obviously to handle. Show you this one. So you can just see, like, you can get all different kinds of patterns. I just stacked them on a cookie sheet and threw them in the oven. Now you'll see that some of these are going to come out blue. The blue is from, I put another piece of lace in that I had used a water-soluble dye with as well, and then all the colors had run, giving me this really cool effect. So it's like a deep blue. I think it's pretty great. So that gives me all different shades and colors just from reusing something I had previously dyed with, and then of course the choke cherries. This is kind of the lace pattern. I did do some canvas tags, but I didn't bring those. Are on the counter. This is the blue dye. I don't know what causes it, and it happens even with coffee. Sometimes your edges, mostly the edges, get a little bit sticky. Like I said, it happens even with coffee. I don't know, but I do know I can spray it and wipe it off. The other thing is I can put like anti-stick on there, like the powder, and that will take that away. It's not a big deal. It's more annoying than anything, but it's not, it doesn't wreck anything. Oops. Sorry. So, yeah, like I said, I did a bunch of them. I like seeing all the different effects you can get. I like this one. And that one's pretty cool too. I like seeing the different effects that you can get with simple supplies. And I know you can do this kind of thing with, you know, coffee or Tim Holstein's or Dina Wakley, Dina Reevely, whatever you want, with their sprays. But it is very expensive to do. It would be very expensive to do a large batch of paper this way with those dyes. Whereas this, it cost me the electricity of using my oven, and basically that was it because it was leftover food scrap. So yeah, go ahead. Like I said, if you're interested, give it a try with choke cherries. I also have cherry juice, which will give me a different color than this yet. I had done peach as well. I didn't really like my results with that. And then I left it on the counter and yeah, you cannot do that. So that's the other thing. If you're going to strain for dye, put it in the fridge. It will mold on you fairly quickly. It does not mold on the paper. I have done this for years. I've never had anything mold. I've done blueberries as well, and I've never had issues. I've done fabric with cherry dye, not choke cherry, but like regular cherry dye, and I've been successful with that. I don't know what it is about the choke cherry dye. I've never seen anything run like this does, but it does. So I'm not sure why. I will say that you can dye cotton with it. Like it will take to cotton. And it takes to flour sack really well, and you get a variation of blue and red and purple. It's really quite cool what it does on flour sack, but I don't have an abundance of that, so I don't have anything to show you. I know that because I use flour sack towels when I can, to strain things out. They work really well for that, but I don't have an abundance like a set of them, and so I don't actually use them in my craft room. Yeah, and like I said, it also takes, so it takes to cotton. It takes really well to cotton doilies, like the crocheted ones. 100% pure cotton. Like if it's synthetic, it will repel it, which I realize that that's not just choke cherry dye that does that. Polyester is just not easy to dye. But that is what I have to show you, and I hope you all enjoy this, maybe learn something. Any questions or comments, leave them below.